welcome back to the channel. So if you've been watching these videos or at least aware of their presence and scanned through them, I don't expect anyone to watch that stuff. I'm just documenting it, I guess essentially to just show what happens when you record records. It reminds me of being in a studio. You know, you just, except usually you have a producer there, an engineer, you know, kind of guiding you along in this case, and other people around, band members. I'm just by myself, so that's a major difference, but it feels very similar to that. It's just a grind, you know. Sorry, and some things are easier than others. I didn't expect this one to be such a challenging part, but it really pushed my skills as far as guitar playing goes. And the main thing that was going wrong is that every time I would get to the chorus, I was doing this. Ooh, that's out of tune. And then I would get to this, I would come down on this G note, which is actually an F sharp because I'm tuned down a half step. And then the excitement of playing, you know, when I come down on it, probably just landing it on it and pulling it. I actually saw my finger do it on one of the takes. Just kind of land on it and pull a little down. So it just takes a lot of discipline, and when you record, you start really hearing your guitar playing in a new light. And I was really trying hard to have a rhythm pattern that was consistent and that had a pattern to it, as opposed to just rocking along. You know, I don't want to sound strictly like the guy who writes the songs and can't perform them, you know. I mean, I'm not a studio level musician, but I am an indie level artist musician, you know, so I'm trying to get better. So what happened was, I feel like I got some of the best guitar tones I've ever gotten, mainly because this amp is so cool. These pickups in this guitar and the guitar itself are so awesome. So that made me sound good, better than I've ever sounded, I think, and just more interesting to the ears, more going on. I've had recorded a lot of guitar stuff, but I have to say this seems to be, you know, like an interesting sound that I've gotten onto that I find is exciting. All right, so I'm going to let you hear, because I need to make a decision. What happened was, I'm listening to the entire rhythm track and it sounds good. And then I isolated each of those outro bits, because if you remember, I decided to break it up, because when I was coming off the A chord, I was having a hard time transitioning from that to the F seamlessly without a bunch of stuttering and whatnot. So, and if I'd gotten everything great up to that point and was done with that part of the song, if somehow I made a mistake at any point in this little outro, it nullified the entire take. So I started going, man, that's just too much stress. Let's break this up, and we'll just fade on the first part. When it's done, we'll fade on that note. You know, we hit that A minor, which actually isn't an A minor because it's tuned down. So it's like, and we're just gonna let that go, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just let this one fade. And then the outro will come in from there. It'll be like. And so you know how my whole thing is. I don't use pedals. I really want the sound of the guitar to come through. It's all about like attack for me, and just, you know, fundamental sound from the instrument, fundamental tone from the amp, as opposed to manipulating the signal a lot. Mainly because it's not that I'm against doing anything, and I'll probably be doing it at some point. But once I got into this, every time I would put a pedal or anything in between, just like the whole magic is like gone, like instantly. As soon as the pedal comes on, it's like, well, there's the sound of that pedal, not the sound of this and the sound of that, unadulterated. And I lose like the touch sensitivity, the pick sensitivity. When there's something in between the guitar and the amp, I lose that like attack. I guess because, you know, the more connections, the more circuits, the more caps, resistors, inputs, outputs, you know, tone robbing or signal robbing, you know, like you start to lose the original signal, gets running through all that stuff. All right, so maybe you can do me a favor. I'm going to play these back. I could have it just isolated, beautiful single strat all on its own. Or I could roll in the other one and have them like equal, like a real chorus effect, which sounds, it actually grabs the ears, but then it starts getting annoying, and I know a lot of people hate chorus. And if I wanted to do chorus, I'd just get a chorus pedal. So I don't want to make a weird pedal tone that wasn't even with a pedal. So I'm not quite sure what to do. Let me just play it back and see if you hear the beauty or if you hear something that sounds annoying. Alright, so I'm going to start with just playing the individual track. The first one's the best one. The other one's fine, but it wouldn't stand on its own. This one can stand on its own. And then I'll bring in, and you can hear that A note. Sounds fabulous, fantastic, and so don't want to mess it up. I might just leave it stark like that, but I did find that having this other guitar in there gave it like this kind of big, glorious tone, but it is very chorusy. So let me roll it back. You'll hear this tone, the start tone. I'll push it up slowly, and we'll see if there's a sweet spot. I'll go up really high to let you fully hear the chorus, and then I'll come down some and see if there's a sweet spot. Go back a little further. So here it is alone, and I'm going to put it all the way up. That time I liked it. I didn't think it sounded too chorusy or whatever. It sounds big and cool. And the other thing is that right now I can't do any panning or messing around with stereo splitting or anything because this is just a mono speaker. So if I start doing that, it'll sound out of phase. It'll sound sucked out, you know, because the signal will be out here. I think of the speaker being right here, and you've moved the signal out here, and so it's just shooting off to the sides instead of coming front on. Speaker, it's like literally a gap there, you know, and the speaker's sitting in the middle. That's how I visualize it. Alright, so let me just mess around with these levels here, and then we'll see if there's like a sweet spot where it sounds perfect together. I don't know, I'm gonna have to just hear it in the mix, but I just wanted to put this out there so I would remember what it was that I was struggling with or questioning. That's at like 50-50, and it's like it's more subtle. It's like you feel something new happening, but it's not super like push chorusy. Here we go. is a really cool, 50s, 60s, early 60s Stratocaster into a Fender Deluxe, vintage Fender Deluxe tone, blackface tone. Because the tweed is a little nastier, actually a lot nastier, a little raspier, and the Deluxe was trying to give you a little cleaner signal, a little longer, cleaner signal. And if you don't play super crank like I do, you can stay clean on this. If you don't go much past 6 and you don't try to push the little tone stack too much, stays clean. It's one of the greatest clean amps I've ever heard. All right, so now what we'll do is we're gonna get out of this listening mode, and I'm gonna get the computer involved, move the tracks over, do a quick little bit of cleanup, bring it back in, and then play the whole thing back, and see what we have so far, or see what I have so far. And I feel like you're contributing, because this feedback I get from these wonderful people that take the time to watch this, and I hope they know that my goal is to share the experience with everyone else. I'm not trying to push my thing. I got nothing to push. I gave up on that a long time ago. I just make music. Don't care to push any kind of YouTube channel, business, any of that stuff, promoting anything, selling product, or even promoting my band too much, because who cares? The main thing that gets me off is writing music, performing it live, making cool videos, and being part of a musical community. So hold on, let me just set everything up, and I'll be right back. Okay, the other thing I noticed when I was back here is that I had the focal length wrong, and the camera was like way up here. Noticed my head was looking bigger than usual, and it looked like I was right on top of the frame. I was like, what the heck's going on? So I just had to zoom back out to make it look correct, and so you can see everything. All right, so I was struggling with this stupid thing because Audacity, the new M1 chip on this Apple Mac thing, MacBook Pro, it's kind of clashy with some of the software that I've been using. Audacity's nothing great. It's light, easy, it's online, and I block it, from being able to communicate. Any kind of program you don't know about, you don't know what they're up to, if they're collecting data or whatever. I use a little $9 program, it's like $10 or whatever, called Radio Silence, that makes it where you can use the program, but it's not sending anything to anyone. Okay, so I did the quick little cleanup. It was giving me a lot of trouble, so I went ahead and just did it off camera, because the Audacity kept crashing and acting stupid. And then I realized there was no sense in trying to fade that tune. I was trying to fade it in Audacity, because I can just pop the fader down when I'm doing the mix. So if you haven't seen this, here's what you do. You take your little proprietary USB cable. It's got like the weird kind of box in on one end, and then the regular USB on the other. I've got to use a dongle to get into mine. But once you connect it, you turn on, like you'll go to USB, you'll go to Reader, and that will connect it to your computer. Now, I made a video, that was the other thing that was giving me trouble, was QuickTime, was being annoying. So, right away, I'll cut to the video, and that way you'll be able to see the icon here on the screen, so you can see the icon, and you just click on it, which opens up the Zoom. And inside, I've got El Dorado, and I'm going to probably go over to this audio file, and I'm going to drag Mono 7, which is that first guitar, that's the main guitar. I'm going to drag that over, just straight over to Audacity to kick this thing off. Now, once I get in there, track looks good too. I don't have to do any kind of amplification, nothing, no major stuff. I don't do any noise reduction. It adds noise, weird noise. Now, I did do a high pass filter at 40, just to kill anything below 40 hertz. And then I'm just going to export it. And I export it as the main guitar, just so that it'll be understood that that's the main rhythm track. And it's going to be number 1, because I'm going to double it just to give it some extra. That's why I didn't need to amplify it too, because I'm going to double the thing. Okay, so then don't need to save changes, because I'm not saving the file. I just saved the exported file. You'll see what I mean in a second. Now I'm going to bring over 8, That was the first outro track, the one that could stand on its own. And that's a really good one. I'm going to silence this beginning bit here because this is not the beginning of the tune. This is just some noise that the guitar makes when when it's time to start. So there's no reason to have that in there. I'll just get rid of that. If it's at the beginning, I'll leave it there, and if it's at the end, I'll leave it there, and I'll decide what to kill, when I'm doing a final mix. But here, there's no need to leave any sound in because that would just be gross. I mean, it would just not sound good. All right, high pass filter again, same thing. It just takes a little bit of that junk out, so it'll just sound a little tighter. Export as wave, same thing. This time it's going to be called Guitar Outro 1 or something like that, I think. Because I'm not going to double these since we already have them. Now, if I decide to just use one and not do the chorusy thing, then I will just go back and double this good one. And in that way, it'll just be more robust and signal will be nice and strong. But if I end up using the two signals to give it that little chorusy effect, I will not double any of the tracks because I already have two tracks. Now we're going to go to the last one, which is the second outro take. The one that I think is inferior, not stand as well on its own, just didn't attack it or execute it as well, but it's fine as a little, to beef up the other one and give it. And so I do the same thing. I'm going to silence that beginning where I'm just sitting there with, an open guitar making noise. No need for that. I'll probably even should have gotten closer there. And then I'm going to Command A selects everything. You go down to high pass, continue to follow the instructions, hit OK. Now we're going to export this file out as a wave, 16-bit. Otherwise, the Zoom will not read it. Let's see, Guitar Out 2. Like I said, we don't need to double these. And I forget that later when I start trying to double those. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't need to double those. Only if you end up using only one of them. All right, now, after we finish that process, now you got to get the tracks, back into the Zoom. So I go and find them, and they were in the Documents folder. And then I pull them out on the desktop. Here they are on the desktop. Here's the tracks that we recorded now sitting on the desktop. And so I'm going to bring, let's see, I got to separate them here. It's like stupid. Just waiting till I start doing something. No, that's not it. And El Dorado, there you go. So I open the El Dorado audio again, and I'm going to just drag these babies in. And it'll take a minute. Okay, so while that goes in, then I take Guitar Main 1 and I'm just going to retitle it Guitar Main 2. And that way, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to have to retitle Guitar Main 2 so that there'll be two of those tracks in there. And then these other ones I don't have to double, as I've already said. So I just drag those in. And then once you're done with the all of that, you just eject it by either dragging it to the trash or however you want to do it. All right, so that all worked. Now, actually, let me shut this down. Now we're going to move back to the Zoom to get those tracks playable and kind of move the old mono tracks out of the mono 007, 8, 9. Get rid of those. Well, not get rid of it because we're going to actually keep it in the machine. That way, if you ever want to re-edit, you don't have to worry about taking this track that's already been manipulated, can't be changed at this point, and you go to the original track. It's kind of like photos, like if you get your original photo out of Photos and edit it, it's different from trying to take an edited photo and go back in and re-edit it from that point. You want to usually start with your source material with most things digital. Okay, so now the way you get those tracks that we've dragged into the Zoom, they're in the hard drive, but they're hiding somewhere. Where are they? We got to find them. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Tool, and then we're going to, I'm sorry, not Tool. We're going to go to Track. And now I'm going to assign tracks. I have a couple videos where I show that and close-ups of the Zoom. I'm just frankly too tired right now to get too helpful, because I'm just that tracking for the past couple of days has kind of beat me down a little bit as far as music world goes. All right, so I'm going to go to track 1. I'll just leave it on track 1 for. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll put it on track 2 so that we have an open spot for the lead part, which I need to go home and work on. I was going to do it tonight, but this took a little longer than I thought. Could have left my guitar at home, and I was worried I was going to get in here and hear something that bugged me, and I was going to want to retrack. But and if I had not brought the guitar, that would have happened. But luckily, since I brought the guitar, the track sounded wonderful. Just kidding. All right. The number 1, I'm going to just make that new take. So you go. So let me explain what you do. You go to track, the track button, and I'm on number 1. That's where I want to be. Now, you'll see take. You're going to just hit enter right away. And then you're going to see file, and you're going to hit enter right away after you see that file. Now it opens up the file select page. I'm going to scroll back to in, because that's M. And that says new take. I hit enter. And that applies it to track 1. And I'm going to move over to track 2. I want to go find that cool guitar main. Guitar main 1. Guitar main should be guitar main 2 here. Yes. I love it when everything works. Okay, then we're going to look for guitar out 1, guitar out 2. And that denotes the outro. Okay. I'm going to turn on all the tracks. So number 1 is a new take. Number 2, 3, and 4 are now occupied with guitar takes. So now, when I come back in here, maybe not tomorrow, but hopefully, if I can get time together, or if I'm not, preoccupied with whatever, I'm going to get in here. Or if I haven't had a part come together, it's kind of a tall order. But if I don't get a guitar part going right away, I'm shifting right to bass, because I don't want any momentum to get lost. I can feel that I've gotten on something now, and I need to run with it as long as I can before the energy runs out, because right now I feel compelled. And sometimes your energy drops and you get less compulsion, you get lazy. So right now that I've got this passion, I'm going to push through and get this done. All right, so let's get a playback here. I'm going to do a quick test just to make sure that everything doesn't sound like total garbage together. And then once I get the level right, I'll start it back up again. Actually, there's 4 guitar tracks, number 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 and 3 are guitar main 1 and 2. Number 4 is the outro 1, and number 5 is outro 2, the backup kind of chorus 1. All right, so let me just test real quick, see what it sounds like, and then we'll. Too forward with the guitars. This is just rough mix city, and this thing sounds like crap. All right, here we go. But at least this gives us a feel of what I've gotten to be able to accomplish so far. Okay, man, I'm happy about that. I don't know what you guys think at home, um, but I don't know if that guitar's too chorusy. That time I didn't care at all. I just wanted to crank it. Cares chorus this, chorus that. I don't use pedals, and I found that not because I'm too cool or whatever. I'm not even a very good guitar player. I just get obsessed with tone and like sound and stuff like that. And I just find that plugging in direct, I just get like the response. And every time there's a pedal involved, like the response gets less and less. And that's maybe just because I'm doing it wrong. But I just never want to hear the pedal effect. I just like the way the amp sounds. Like anything that gets in between the guitar and the amp. Same thing with my 18 watt. I bet if I had a more highly wattage amp, like a 50 or 100 watt amp, I would have more space for that. Because I don't know. I don't like the way this like distortion pedals sound. They always sound like they add they just turn your amp into whatever distortion pedal is. Like you buy an amp for a circuit and like the tubes and everything and the transformers and the whole topology, and then you just take like this little thing that, I don't know. It just so that's why I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that chorusy tone, because that could be achieved with a pedal. I don't know. Overthinking it, per usual. All right, so yeah. I'm kind of confused. What I'm going to do is just start working on the guitar part. If that doesn't come quickly, and if it's not happening, because right now I can think of nothing. Nothing's even coming into my mind, like when I'm listening to it on its own. Nothing's popping out. Or like, because I usually think of it in my mind before I even play it. I'll hear something, like it'll just like come in, and then I'll try to recreate it on the guitar. If I was a better guitar player, there'd be a lot better music coming out. So that's what I need to keep doing, is working on that. All right, so yeah, if I don't get the guitar happening, I'm moving right on to bass. That might be what's next, because I can already feel the bass. I can like hear different things happening. And not a very good bass player either, but I got to come up with something interesting next time.